And now they're talking about putting, this is among the most beautiful areas was in the country. Now they're talking about putting low-income housing there.
Tonight, turning wildfire devastation into opportunity. Lawmakers in Sacramento are pushing a new plan to transform fire-scorched land into affordable housing.
Fox 11's Matthew Seedorf live with more on how this could reshape communities devastated by the January fires. Matthew?
You know why they're doing this, right? You do know why they're doing this, right? Well, I'll tell you what, by the end of this video, you will for sure. And stick around because I'm going to share with you the exact words that President Trump had to share about this terrible, terrible move that Gavin Newsom and Karen Bass, governor of California, mayor of Los Angeles, are doing to the people. Hey, everybody, welcome back. Hit that subscribe button. Trying to do our best to reach 233,000 subscribers today. I think we can do it. What do you guys say? Hit that subscribe button. Help the channel grow. Thank you very much.
I absolutely think it's showing signs of working. And let's take a look at the voters who know Gavin Newsom best. Those voters out in California, those California Democrats. California Democrats and Newsom for governor. You go back to 2023, just 35% wanted him to run for president. Look at the percentage now who are excited for a run for president for Gavin Newsom. What is that? That's a 40-point climb. My goodness gracious, a rising tide of support for Gavin Newsom. Remember, back in 2023, the majority of Democrats did not want Joe Biden to run for another term, but California Democrats and Gavin Newsom's home state did not want him to run either. And now 75%.
You would think those that know him best would want him to lose. Maybe they want him to run just to see his defeat. And it's comparing him and his popularity or not, and his popularity among Democrats in his own state jumping 40 points to 75%, while his nationwide nomination chances rise to 27%, could be because the Democrats have no one else to run. And so the support is coming from, I mean, this is like paid to promote support, basically. It's like no one's watching Gavin Newsom's podcast, so he pays to promote it. He pays to get reach and listeners, and he pays for fake subscribers and bots. And yeah, also because who the Democrats could likely run, which would include AOC, Hakeem Jeffries, Jasmine Crockett, which I think 2 out of 3 of those are pretty much out. They're missing. They're gone. No one can find them. But Joe Biden could take another stab at it. But Biden looks like he's barely hanging on. So Gavin Newsom it is. Gavin Newsom celebrating his 10-year plan to end homelessness, now reaching its mark in San Francisco, marking its 22-year anniversary. Congratulations, Gavin Newsom. Bravo. Bravo.
Are excited for him to run, and more than that, he's getting a higher percentage of the vote than Kamala Harris in her home state. He is beating the former vice president, who of course was the Democratic nominee in 2024. As I said, a rising tide of support for the California governor.
And we always say it's very early to be looking at 2028 polling, but why is California polling so important?
Why is it so important? Because I want you to take a look. It's one of those benchmarks, the home state polling for presidential candidates. If they can't win the primary in their home state, they ain't going to win anywhere. What are we talking about? President nominees and home state primaries. All of them won. All the nominees won. And all of them led in the early polls. So yes, winning California is not tantamount to winning the nomination, but it is one of those stepping stones that you have to make it to if you in fact want to win the nomination historically. And of course in California, it has the most delegates out of any of the states that of course take part in the Democratic primary.
How are things looking nationally for Democrats?
Okay, so we're looking at the states, right? We're looking at Gavin Newsom's home state, but how about nationally? Does what we're seeing in California translate nationally? Chance of being the 2028 Democratic nominee, according to the prediction markets. Back on June 1st, before all this strategy, before all this confrontation with Donald Trump, you saw Gavin Newsom 11%, AOC at 10, Buttigieg at 8. Look at where Gavin Newsom has shot up to now. 27% now is the clear front runner, not at 50% plus, but still the clear front runner, at least according to the prediction markets. What we're seeing in California isn't staying in California, at least at this particular point.
Thanks, Harry. It's good to see you.
Nice to see you.
And speaking of rising tide of support, check this one out. Breaking. The petition to commute the sentence of the Indian I think they call him the Punjabi driver who claimed the lives of a family of 3 by making an illegal U-turn, has reached 500,000 signatures, more than doubling in one day. Yeah, Gavin Newsom for president. This, ladies and gentlemen, could extend further than just California. You got to think, if Gavin Newsom were to become president, if he were to run, be nominated, run, succeed and win, beating J.D. Vance for president, beating out others in the Democratic Party, including Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson or LeBron James, that he would do all he can to spite President Trump and reverse anything and everything President Trump accomplished, and also exert equal, if not more, force than President Trump has and is currently. And so whatever horrible policies and practices that exist in California that have caused so many innocent lives to be harmed, ruined, ended, lost, yeah, that would stretch across the entire country.
They shouldn't have never had a CDL license, but they got one in California. We brought you this story yesterday, and it looks like they were able to, it was denied, the work permit was denied by the Trump administration, but the Biden administration granted them that work visa.
But of course, that didn't stop Governor Gavin Newsom from deciding to continue his trying to cosplay as Donald Trump by getting on Twitter and talking a big game, talking smack, saying, hey, genius, talking to the Trump administration. The federal government, Trump admin, already confirmed that this guy meets federal and state immigration requirements. You issued him a work permit as usual. The Trump administration is either lying or clueless. P.S. at Grok, who was the president in 2018. So this was all part of Gavin Newsom trying to pretend like he's a tough guy like Donald Trump because he doesn't have enough to do in his own state, like rebuilding neighborhoods that were burned to the ground by the wildfires. Tricia McLaughlin, DHS Assistant Secretary, responds and absolutely destroys him, saying false. Harjinder Singh, who's the driver of the truck that did the illegal U-turn, who's an illegal and should not have had a license, is in the United States illegally, and his work authorization was rejected under the Trump administration on September 14th, 2020. It was later approved under the Biden administration, June 9th, 2021. The state of California issues commercial driver's licenses. There is no national CDL. Sincerely, genius. So she came bringing the receipts and dropped a ton of bricks on Gavin Newsom's head.
I love that she knows the exact dates.
Oh, yeah.
September 14th. You know, that's when Donald Trump denied it. This is all because Gavin Newsom was getting criticized because there's that car accident on the Florida Turnpike where this guy, this illegal immigrant's doing the U-turn, barely even has an expression after he realizes the minivan doesn't have time to stop and slams underneath his truck. Look at that. Three people died in that, killed 3 people. And he has barely an expression when he's caught on his dash camera. And then he ends up in California. They arrest him out in California in Stockton and charge him with 3 counts of vehicle homicide and says that he entered the U.S. illegally. Then Gavin Newsom was criticized for giving him this, what's the license called that the truck driver?
Commercial driver's license.
It almost seems like Gavin Newsom should be an accessory of some sort to these murders. I mean, without Gavin Newsom facilitating this driver's license, this probably would have never happened. Let me know if you agree or disagree. Gavin Newsom's on his way out and new leadership on its way in, and this could be a turning point for California. Hopefully, Californians don't make the same mistake again. New poll, Bianco cements status as Republican frontrunner. New California polling shows Bianco as GOP frontrunner, with only Katie Porter coming in before him. Sheriff Chad Bianco also wants to stop the Newsom power grab and says, let's stand up for our rights and fight back against the dictator trying to gerrymander, disenfranchise, and rig our elections. Stop the Newsom power grab. Sign the petition today.
Message is, Gavin Newsom, I am going to expose you for the complete fraud that you are, the liar that you are, and you will never, ever be the president of this country. You will never do to the rest of the country what you have done to California. California's problems are completely caused by California government. We have the greatest businesses, we have the greatest people, we have the greatest business minds, the greatest innovators, the greatest creators, the greatest entrepreneurs in the country. We have the fourth largest economy that is artificially propped up to be something good. And the thing that is preventing us from being great, from achieving that California dream that that I came here for, the only thing preventing us is government. Government has its boot on our backs, keeping us down with overregulation, activism, appeasement of activists, instead of taking care of the majority of Californians as a whole. And it's an agenda. It is a complete agenda of making sure that government is in control of all of our lives instead of us being in control of government. And so the only reason I'm doing this is to restore that balance. The balance is supposed to be that government is supposed to be working for us. We are not supposed to be working to increase the size of government. And that's the only reason why California is no longer the greatest state in the country. You can have our politicians say it as much as they want, but we are the laughingstock of the rest of the country. We are the laughingstock of the world.
I don't even live in California, and I vote for this guy. And I've got more that I want to share with you, specifically about how a foreign investor has quietly purchased 9 oceanfront lots in Malibu for $65 million following the January wildfires, and the investor reportedly assembled a team to track down owners because the desirable sites weren't publicly listed. So stay tuned, folks. Stick with me here. And Heidi Blake says, I called Chapter today to check them out. Very nice and helpful. Pick new insurance, but nothing can be done for a couple of months. Then it will take effect in January. Great news. Even better news, Chapter saved me over $1,000. They're good people. And this latest breaking news regarding Medicare Part D that I think you guys should all be aware of and know about says changes could lead to higher cost sharing for some beneficiaries. Chapter has a team of experts ready to take your calls, answer your questions, help you in the best ways possible. And if you are interested in saving money specifically on your Medicare, then make sure you give our friends at Chapter a call. And I want you guys to really, really pay attention here, because it's come to my attention that most seniors are not on the best Medicare plan. They're either overpaying for the same coverage they could get elsewhere, or they don't have the coverage they need in an emergency. Chapter can review your options in under 20 minutes. It's fast, it's simple, it's easy, and it's free. If you're already on the best possible plan, they'll tell you they're unbiased and they're purely here to help folks, seniors, save money on healthcare, on average $1,100. And if you're not on the right plan, they'll help you switch, even if it's to a plan that pays them nothing. Again, unbiased, folks. This is unique and unlike any other Medicare provider out there. And this is exactly why we love Chapter so much, because they're literally just trying to help people. Chapter works for you, not big insurance or the government. And there's no pressure, just honest, free advice from professionals who know Medicare inside and out. So the Pacific Palisades fire that happened left thousands of homes in ashes, shattering lives along California's iconic coast. But as residents fight to rebuild, there are talks of a cash grab by Governor Gavin Newsom and Mayor Karen Bass, and it's spreading equally as fast as the wildfire, or like wildfire, essentially. And some claim that they're slowing recovery to seize land for profit. And so here's the deal, folks. These accusations come from frustrated residents and plenty more on posts on social media. And they're alleging Newsom and Bass, or Newsom, and I'm not sure what we should call Bass, are delaying permits to pressure homeowners into selling cheap And they point to the suspension of Senate Bill 9, which allows duplexes in single-family zones, claiming it's a ploy to redirect prime Palisades land for low-income housing, benefiting connected developers.
I was just talking to Josh Green, the governor of down in Hawaii, who had some ideas around some land use concerns he has around speculators coming in, buying up properties and the like. So we're already working with our legal teams to move those things forward, and we'll be.
California Governor Gavin Newsom is under fire for allegedly allowing Chinese investors to buy up Palisades fire-destroyed property, with nearly 30% of all purchases in Altadena alone. According to an anonymous developer, more than 28% of purchases in the fire-ravaged zones have been made by those Chinese investors. The revelation comes as concerns mount over foreign investments in strategic or disaster-hit areas. Critics say lax regulations under Democrat governors like Newsom allow adversaries like China to gain footholds in the nation, threaten national security, and drive up housing costs for everyday Americans. Calls are now being made for the federal government to step in and stop what some are calling a stealth invasion disguised as real estate deals. Earlier this week, footage was released showing alleged surveys of burn zones in Altadena and Pacific Palisades by Chinese buyers, with one contractor reporting requests for bulk purchases of 5 to 6 lots at a time. Multiple contractors in the Pacific Palisades and Altadena are now warning about Chinese nationals aggressively pursuing fire-destroyed lots. Last month, the report revealed that Chinese nationals spent $13.7 billion on U.S. homes from April of 2024 to March of 2025. This marks an 83% increase, with heavy focus on California markets, a trend Senator Rick Scott blasted as a national security risk, saying Chinese citizens have a legal obligation to spy for their government. This after reports started pouring in from analysts about major investors like BlackRock selling properties to CCP-affiliated buyers.
Yeah, the buzz is taking over social media with outrage. Some even saying victims are being billed for faulty fire hydrants to force sales. It's kind of like when the HOA finds you for some ridiculous breach of your neighborhood's HOA bylaws or covenant, and then you don't pay, and then they force foreclosure. Governor Gavin Newsom and Mayor Karen Bass are robbing Pacific Palisades fire victims blind. Their so-called executive orders are a sham designed to choke homeowners with delays while they funnel prime coastal land to their developer buddies, their cronies. Newsom's $100 million for affordable housing is a blatant cover to seize burned out lots for low-income projects and not to help struggling renters. Karen Bass, who jetted off to Ghana as the fires raged, is complicit, pushing restrictive rebuilding rules to force residents out, and their suspension of Senate Bill 9 allowing duplexes in single-family zones is a calculated move to block homeowners from rebuilding while developers circle like vultures. And this isn't about fire safety or infrastructure. It is a land grab through and through, pure and simple, and it's an outrage that demands accountability and action now. Still, the distrust is real, folks. Only 25% of rebuilding permits have been approved 6 months later. Many residents are very vocal about this, feeling betrayed by slow bureaucracy and mixed signals. Newsom's promise to cut red tape hasn't fully matured, and Karen Bass's focus on low-income housing feels tone-deaf to some in this wealthy enclave.
And now they're talking about this is among the most beautiful areas was in the country. Now they're talking about putting low-income housing there. Can you believe this? I love low-income housing. I made money with low-income housing. I built low-income housing. I know more about low-income housing and luxury housing. I know about everything real estate. They want to replace some of those homes with low-income housing. They haven't gotten their permits yet. We've gotten all the federal permits, which are much tougher to get, and it was done almost immediately through Lee Zeldin and Federal Environmental. And I watched the other day, those people are angry. And now, they had tremendous They loved that area. They loved the whole big area, different places, but they loved it. It was all luxury stuff and beautiful stuff, and some wasn't that luxury, but the level of love for that neighborhood, their neighborhoods, was incredible. And you know what? I watch people on television, they want to go, they want to leave. They've lost their spirit, they've lost their heart, because the mayor's incompetent, and Gavin Newsom is incompetent. He's got a good line of bullshit, but that's about it. He's incompetent.